Hello and welcome. Today on the show, the sauce is the boss. At least that's what it says on the bottle. We're talking Sweet Baby Ray's Sweet Golden Mustard Barbecue Sauce. Wow, what a mouthful. I can't wait to get a mouthful of this here sauce. We're really glad that you came by here today. Thank you for listening. This is Sauce Spoken.
And we're back. Welcome to Sauce Spoken. We are the podcast that is scientifically documenting the edible liquids, semi-liquids, and semi-solids of the 21st century. I'll be your co-host today. My name's Adam. I'm here with your co-host, Tori. Why don't you say hi, Tori?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tori, and I'm happy you came. Thanks.
And we'll also have on today with us our guest, Eric, also known as Sleazy E.
Hello, everyone.
I wasn't introducing you. You weren't allowed to talk yet.
Oh, my bad.
Why can't I hear us?
Because we're not plugged in, which I was trying to show to you.
Oh, okay. Well,
but you ignored my motions, and I thought you were on a roll.
I thought
and
you were just scratching your
go.
head like a fucking chimpanzee. There we go. That's better.
There we go.
Now I can hear myself.
Now you can hear
the
yourself.
world's even better than it was before.
How's your week been, AP?
That's my job to say that.
I jumped in.
It was pretty good. I had a little bit of a gripe earlier this week. I broke for those of you that don't know, which is all of you, I like to ride my bicycle. I like to go on little bicycle rides sometimes. I had a wee bit of an incident with my bike the other day. I had a spoke broken.
Oh, no.
And I decided I would talk about my spoke broken on Soft Spoken.
Nice.
And I didn't plan that either. That was off the cuff. I thought that was pretty good.
Really good.
So I decided I was going to fix it. Well, that ended up not being such a hot idea. Let's just put it that way. And I destroyed my rear wheel on my bike.
Oh, wow.
Thought it would be a simple fix, but
That seemed to escalate.
tisn't.
Rapidly.
Yeah, tisn't. That's the shortened version. But
Did it experience the rage?
no, actually it didn't. They have quick release rear wheels, which have a hollow axle for the quick release mechanism. And if you over torque them trying to get them apart, what ends up happening is you just split that thing right in half. So it may have already been pre-weakened, but you know, when you're sitting in your dark garage taking something apart and something breaks in half and you've got bearings going all over the place, and I just decided I'm going to buy a new bike.
A whole new bike.
Yeah, well, I've had this bike. That was cute. I've had this bike for, I don't know, maybe 5 years now, and it was a cheap bike I bought off of Amazon. If you ask any bicycle snobs, they'll happily tell you that is not a bike. That is a bike-shaped object, because they don't believe those are true bikes.
Wow.
That's
But I
pretty
beat the piss out of this thing for 5 years.
What model was it?
It was a no-name.
Just totally. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing anyone would have heard of.
Wow.
But it was a road bike, you know, and I beat the hell out of it for 5 years. I took it on some off-road things, you know, I beat the piss out of it. I'm not joking.
Well, then you got your money's worth, at least.
Yeah, and I get quite a few miles a year, but I finally decided that I was going to go buy myself a nice new bike. I thought, you know what? I've earned this. You know, I beat the piss out of this bike for 5 years. I do a lot of biking, more than most people I know.
Certainly more than everyone in this room.
Yeah, certainly more than we've discussed before. His bike has become a wall ornament.
It certainly has.
That's how you pick up girls. You let the girls walk in and they see the bike and they think, oh, he's into fitness. And then you say, how about fitness, dick?
Nice. My bike is still at the store waiting to be purchased.
So is mine, as the story turns
well, I
out.
suppose you're right, yeah.
Because
my bike has a longer wait than yours. So.
I decided I wanted to go get a Trek bike.
Wow.
What's that?
Top of the line?
A Trek bike.
TREK.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is, I don't think they're the nicest, but they make some pretty damn nice bicycles.
Yeah.
So I walked into the store, and it was a bit of a bizarre experience. And I don't want anyone to get the impression that the gentleman there was not nice. He was very pleasant and very helpful, but...
Managed to do a whole 180 on you, get to convince that, you know, something they had in stock was better than what your research told you?
He tried that, but that's getting ahead of myself a little bit, because what actually happened was I went around to the back door to try to get in, and the door was locked. So I thought, maybe there's a door out in front. I'll go try that. I walked around to the front door. There was a front door. It was also locked. To myself, I thought,
No bicycles, COVID
How?
restriction.
No, actually. Well, kind of. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So I walked around to the back door.
How long is this story?
It's a pretty long story. Yet again. And then I saw there was a sign there saying, please wait here on this dot for service. So I waited there for a few minutes, and then a nice gentleman came and let me in. I went in, and he said, do you know what you're looking for? And I said, yes, I would like a Dual Sport 3 in Factory Orange. I'm not sure exactly what frame size I need. And he said, oh, well, what do you want to do with it? Blah, 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 blah. And we got to the point where I was talking about
What do you want to do? What kind of question? What do you want to do with the bike? I'm going to have tea with it. I'm going to take it to the movie theater.
Exactly.
What do you want to do with it?
Well, that comes into the story later as well.
Oh, my goodness.
Romantic sense.
The bicycle podcast.
But, well, we always get off on tangents. That's part of our charm. But
some people's charm is others' ramblings.
Well, yeah, but you can edit this all out. The gist of it is that he says to me, I want to do a little bit of mostly road and a little bit of off-roading on some mountain bike trails. You know, this is a dual sport, you know, hence the name. You would think you could do like 70% road, 30% off-roading.
Right. They have these bikes called hybrid bikes.
It's
right?
a hybrid bike.
So it's
correct.
a hybrid. Okay.
So this is not a bike-shaped object, but in a very much a full-fledged bike.
Truly a bicycle.
Oh, wow.
He says to me, well, it sounds like you really need 2 bikes.
What?
Oh wow.
Now,
I only have one ass and 2 feet.
Exactly. Now, I'm not a rich man, and this is going to be a rather large outlay of cash for me. I was a little taken aback, to say the least. So my budget, let's just say it was heartily under $1,000. I say, well, my budget is saying that I really just need the one bike today, actually. So he said, oh, okay, well, why don't you come over here with me? We'll take your measurements, blah, blah, blah. They did that, got me fitted for the correct frame size. He takes me over and says, I need to do some stuff on the computer for a few minutes. I'm going to have you look at this bike that's the same frame size and some of the similar things as one of the bikes you're interested in. He shows it to me, and he says, now, this is a really nice bike. He said, this was a bike I was going to suggest you buy until you had mentioned that you were on a budget. He walked away to go do his computer stuff, and I decided to take a gander at the price tag. Does anyone want to have a guess?
How about 1,800?
A guess.
I was thinking, yeah, I'll go high just for the sake. I'll go 23.
How about $3,500?
Wow.
For a goddamn bicycle? I thought, excuse me, sir, do people often walk into your store and say, yes, I'd like a bicycle? Money is no object. Please, I would like to pay as much as a used Honda Civic for a bicycle.
Is it gold plated or something?
No, it was a very nice mountain bike, which I was not really looking for a mountain bike to begin with, so I was a little bit annoyed about that too, but it did seem like a very nice, it was very light, I will say that.
I think my hybrid, well, my wall ornament downstairs there, I think that's, I mean, it's a hybrid, and I think it's quite light, and it costs like a whole whopping $320.
Exactly. I think that's still what most people consider a normal amount of money to pay for a bicycle, you know,
or even
10 times
slightly
that
high.
much.
Yeah.
And this is, bear in mind, a lot of these bicycles, they come with setup costs and other things to
costs
to outfit them and stuff like that. Because of course you have to have, some bikes are sold without pedals, believe it or not.
I am so out of touch without pedals.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
What an idea.
you have to pay separately for that. Now I believe this one did come with pedals. I think most of Trek bikes do. I could be wrong.
It's like getting the floor mats at a car place.
Exactly. Charge extra for that shit.
That's insane.
So then he walked away, and the other thing about these bikes is that one of the features that most higher end bikes do not come with is a kickstand. So when I got done looking at this bike, what am I supposed to do with this thing? He took it up off this rack, and I daren't lift it back up on this rack above my head. I just gently leaned it against the wall and prayed it would stay standing upright. So I walked it back around to him, and he said, okay, you know, I've been looking through some stuff here on our system online. For our listeners, it just turned September. And it was the end of August. It was the last week in August when I broke my bike, you know, and I like to go out and bike pretty often. And I was really looking forward to do some fall bike riding. So I go around and talk to the gentleman. He says to me, you know, I see what you're looking for here. We've got some coming along. Now, let's see here. Okay, assuming that you're not very picky about what color you get it in, let's see. I can get you one in mid-fucking-April. For a goddamn bicycle.
Wow.
You pump this shit out, dude. They're doing this in China. You know they are.
They're mining the aluminum right now.
Yeah. Whip those Chinese slaves harder. I need a bicycle. So then I responded, well, I was really hoping that I could get something in, this year, preferably. I was thinking maybe ambitiously hoping to walk out with something today. I guess that was mistaken. To which he, responds that that's really not going to be possible because of the whole coronavirus. Everyone has decided to become an amateur cyclist, along with all the other outdoor activities. Which is why all this shit, why you can't buy yeast, why you can't go buy, you can't get any kayak stuff, you can't get any of that shit, because everyone, the stuff that I normally want to do, everyone has decided that they want to do it. They're going to give it all back up when they go to work. There's going to be 1.5 million bicycles on Craigslist next year, but I want one now. So I said to him, well, I was really hoping to get something in a little bit sooner than this. To which he says, okay, well, here, I think maybe I've got a solution for you. I've got a bike coming in that's kind of similar to what you want. It's not the same model as what you want. It's in a hideous-ass silver color, which I hate. He said, I have some of those coming in 2 weeks. What I suggest you do is buy one of those right now, sight unseen, put it on your credit card, and when it comes in, you can check it out. And if you really don't like it, then you can return it then.
Wow.
I was speechless.
Wow.
That's horrific. I mean...
So how many bikes did you end up leaving with?
I just said, give me everything
4?
you got.
Yeah.
Clearly, the racket is to be a bike store owner, so...
Wow.
Needless to say, I went on Amazon, found some parts for my bike, and decided maybe it was, after a while, worth it to buy some tools and some spare parts to fix my bike for this year.
Yeah, you gave it hell. I mean, if it fails on you by the end of the year, bag it, right? I mean, not that bad.
Yep, that was my thought.
Right,
so,
you probably spent, less than $100 on spare parts?
Oh, absolutely. But the point is that it's not really worth repairing at all. And I really feel dumb spending any money on it.
After that experience, are you sure about that?
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on a wait list for the bike I really want.
$3,500
April. No, yeah, not. Yes, I'd like to buy, let me think here, a used car and a used motorcycle and have enough cash left for lunch or a fucking bicycle. The thing you got to remember is that these are the people, and nothing against this, if you're this kind of person, I envy you, but this is the kind of guy who's a retired school teacher and bikes to work every day, sun, rain, shine, snow. He was telling me about biking to work in the snow, and how it's etiquette to have a fatter tire in the snow than it is a skinnier tire so you don't rut up the snow trails, is what I was told. This might be too specific. I hope he doesn't listen to this. He was very nice. I make him sound like a shithead.
Not that bad.
Just a little pushy.
Well, no, he wasn't even really pushy. He was trying to be genuinely helpful, but I don't think maybe I was not his average clientele. Let's put it that way.
You say he was a retired teacher? Or
yes.
But while he was working as a teacher, he rode his bike?
No, I believe he showed me the bike that he rode to work that day at the truck store.
Oh, I gotcha.
He may have ridden to work as a school teacher as well. I didn't quiz him on his whole life story because by that point I decided that it was time to leave.
And the whole waiting outside, that was, again, a COVID.
That's a COVID thing. I also learned another interesting thing, and I don't want to make any kind of social commentary on this, but it was an interesting thing that I noticed on Google, and on this store in particular, that if you go onto Google, where it lists the store hours and things like that, the other store information, there's a new tab on there. It had a picture of a flag, and it said LGBTQ friendly. The store was marked as. Which I thought was interesting.
I use DuckDuckGo, so I don't know nothing about that.
Very good. I just thought that was an interesting thing to add, and like I said, I don't want to make any social commentary on that, because I don't know what precipitated that. I'm not woke enough to be a good ally to that, I guess.
Are bike stores notoriously
I think
anti?
so. No, I don't think so. I think they are actually. So I think they're more. I think if anything, they would skew liberal.
They were like proving the point that we're not your typical bike store. We accept all people.
I don't think so. I don't think they have a. I think typically people that would frequent bike stores would be the city dwelling, probably therefore more urban, probably therefore more liberal crowd. If I had to guess.
Okay.
I think it sounds more like some software developer just had too much time at Google and didn't know what else to do with themselves, so they...
Well, I just thought it was interesting, and like I said, the main thing to me was that I didn't, and this is part of me being ignorant, I did not realize that was a determining factor for whether or not people felt welcome in a store. I never would have occurred to me that...
You probably felt very welcome there then, knowing that.
I did, yes. Speaking of stupid, how was your week?
I mean...
That was an easy jab, but whatever, I guess. I don't know.
Usually I am more insulting towards you, but anyways, I was getting at, I know that was a glorious story that took up 43 minutes.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. That's probably what it felt like to the listeners, but no, believe it or not, that story was under 20 minutes.
My week's been good. My coworker's been calling me a piece of shit, throwing papers at me, yelling at me to get work done. She came back particularly feisty after her recent vacation, so.
Wow.
I don't know if we've established that you work with Tori's wife yet.
I don't think we have.
I don't think that's.
We've established it now.
Yeah, it's been established.
Although I'm sure that you probably have several other coworkers that call you a piece of shit and throw stuff at you. You well deserve it, I'm sure.
When it fits, right?
If the boot fits.
Can't afford boots.
Too busy buying Kickstarters.
So you got called into work tonight, E? It's a good thing we had time to record.
Yeah, I did.
You get everything fixed up. You get everything good to go.
Yep, I had to go down and correct some lines of code for some CNC lasers. So got to muck around with some G code, make it right. Had to fight with the machine a little bit, but
I remember G Code. That was who sang that? That was a song in the 90s, right? G Code. I was trying to make a 90s rap. Okay, let's edit that.
Yeah,
part
I mean,
out.
you can sort of. Yeah, I can see where you're going.
I was trying to make a joke. Damn it!
Yeah, I thought you were serious.
flop. Yeah,
It may honestly be. I don't know.
Follow the G code, man. It's everywhere.
The G Code. Tori, how was your week?
That was pretty good. Yeah, like he was mentioned, my wife and I went on a wonderful vacation in the Pocono Mountains. It was very nice. It was very pleasant.
But was it LGBTQ friendly?
I'm certain it was. The resort itself was quite crazy, and I told you this earlier, but the resort I found to be cheesy in a very charming and a delightful sense. I'll mention it. It was a great stay. I'd recommend it. Pocono Palace in the Poconos, East Stroudsburg, PA. Wonderful place. But they know their clientele and they know why people are coming up there. It's silly, sort of. I mean, they have these round beds with this curtain of purple sheer. I mean, everything is just ramped up. I mean, boom, there was a heart-shaped hot tub in the room itself.
Very cute.
And these rooms had these big wedge-shaped hot tubs that separated, there was a glass, and a glass door that separated where you sleep and, the restroom and all that.
Where you fuck.
And there was a sauna in that back room too. It was truly crazy. But I mean,
was it a wedge-shaped pool?
Yeah, it was
a wedge-shaped pool.
It was a wedge-shaped
hot
pool.
tub.
Oh, excuse me. Heart-shaped hot tub.
Heart-shaped hot tub, wedge-shaped pool. Amy may have mentioned that it was kind of 80s porno vibe.
Oh, yeah. I definitely got the 1972. I would say earlier than that, like early 70s.
Mirrors on the ceiling.
Vibe. There was a mirror on the ceiling.
Oh,
Oh
dear.
my god!
Yeah, there was. That was a real thing.
Wow.
Right above the round bed, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Was it a round mirror?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
it was.
good.
I mean, everything was just cranked up to 12. They knew their clientele. The gift shop, as you could imagine, was particularly interesting. They had a few choice picks, something you wouldn't find at your normal everyday hotel gift shop.
I'm just imagining a condom and lube store is what I'm imagining.
Yeah, imagine
And
that,
golf balls.
but with the usual trinkets, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the keychains with your names on them and whatnot. The usual affair.
Gummy worms.
But with edible undies and whatnot. But
Wow.
to take that and crank it all up. I mean, it was really cheesy, but I found it absolutely charming, and I would go again tomorrow, and I would recommend someone to take their lover out there too because it's a lot of fun.
That's funny because she did mention it was not kid friendly, and I didn't hear why.
Oh,
Now
boy.
I know.
Yeah.
Geared towards couples.
Yeah, it very much geared, and I liked it because they didn't have the you go into a normal Holiday Inn or a normal hotel, they have the office
Right.
suite, they have the computer and the PC you can use in the event you want to check
Sure.
your emails. These Pocono Palace peeps, they didn't do that. None of that. We know that you're not here to come and check emails, so we're not even going to bother waste the space. So that was they know their clientele, and I thought it was really well done.
I mean, it's truly a getaway. You said in the Poconos, which is a national park, I imagine.
It's a mountain range, yeah, at the very least.
Okay, and does it even have Wi-Fi? I mean, are you like so far out there, like it doesn't have?
Oh, you're on
electricity
a resort.
or Wi-Fi,
You're certainly on a resort. Oh yeah, you got all the amenities. You got
I mean, I went up on a trip in Watertown, New York. You had to canoe out to the island where the hotel was, but we were just glad to have running water. Like it was, there was no electricity.
Oh no,
was-
yeah,
it was
you
pretty
had
wild.
all the amenities, all the good stuff. The only thing that wasn't included was the liquor, like other all-inclusive resorts. But,
Right.
But thankfully, good old PA, there was a beer distributor right down the street.
Nice.
Good.
So I got my fill for $21 a piece.
Very good.
And there, and a little further down the street, there was even something sweet, I heard.
Yeah.
We weren't going to talk about her on the podcast. I think he wanted to keep that private.
Oh, he dropped her off outside the resort. He didn't allow her to come in with him.
You don't get my round bed, baby.
And we stopped in. It's funny you brought up Altoona last week, but we poked into Altoona to the Mallow Cup factory in Altoona in the little gift shop, and we got a huge box, like a crate of Mallow Cups. Love them.
Now, your wife's quite a fan of these, as I understand.
Yeah, and so am I, to be very frank with you. I like them a lot. And, so she got a shirt and a big old box of candy.
A shirt?
Box. Yeah, thank you for reminding. Oh, they had all types of goofy stuff. Shirts, mugs, magnets, little stuffed animals, like, little stuffed marshmallow, Mallow Cup man.
The Mallow edible underwear or anything?
No, nothing quite
Chocolate-flavored lubricants?
Not quite as saucy as the resort. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend the resort. It was a terrific time. Thank you for asking, whoever asked.
What room did you stay in case people want to get the authentic TG experience?
109 in the Garden of Eden Apples. Yeah, they had a couple of different suite names depending on what type of amenities you wanted.
What type of fuck facilities?
Wow. It was wild. And Amy made the joke that how everyone is in such a good humor at breakfast, so
yes.
you go to the buffet line and and everyone's all smiley and cheeky, and it was sort of funny because she made the joke about it first night we were there, and sure enough, it was true.
Along those lines, do round beds have some sort of a connotation? Why? I don't really get that part.
I don't get it either, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it for any type of long-term slumbering,
right?
For any reason.
I'm just thinking,
if you think about it, you got to be dead nut center in the circle. If you don't want your feet to hang
right,
off.
If you're tall at all.
Yeah, you got to have like Euclidean geometry going on here to have a good night's sleep, and that's just no thanks.
I think that's sort of maybe that's the whole idea. You're all in the center. You're naturally trying to draw in towards each other.
Why wouldn't they just give you a smaller rectangle bed?
Then you couldn't put a nice sheer curtain around it.
But I think you could. That was the original like 4-poster bed. Was you could have like curtains if you wanted around your bed. I was just thinking, I imagine it would be a nightmare to buy sheets for that. I would think they would have to be custom made in whatever size you wanted. Speaking of large beds, have you guys ever heard of, I used to sell mattresses for part of a job. Have you guys ever heard of some of the abnormal bed sizes?
No.
There's a couple, there's one that's called, I believe, a Texan king bed, and there's one that's called an Alaskan king bed.
I heard of the California king.
The California king, yes. The California king is narrower than your standard king, but longer, good for tall people. Wider than a queen, I believe. Not as wide as a normal standard king. But I believe the Alaskan king, if I'm not mistaken, is 10 feet by 10 feet square.
It's for them grizzly boys up there.
Damn.
Yeah, it's for Kodiak grizzly bears.
Why on earth would you ever need a bed that large?
It's like they famously say, everything's bigger in Alaska. That's a saying, right?
For sure, that's Texas.
I know. Alaska is a bigger state, though.
Yes, it is.
Also has the most coastline of any state in the United States.
All I keep thinking is it's supposed to be for those swingers or something, or for those people who like to have, multiples in bed.
Wow,
yeah, if you wanted to have a whole room full of people in your bed, that would be the way to go.
Be the way to go.
Fill up a lot of bedrooms.
That's really weird.
I'm a fan of it.
It seems abnormally large.
Again,
You're a fan of the abnormal sizes or the fan of the multiple people in your bed?
I'm a fan of, take it as I get it. But no, I'm a fan of a bigger bed. I think a king size is ideal for people who want to like each other at the end of the day. If you have to live with someone, it's better. And another key thing is get multiple comforters. Get a king size bed, but get maybe like 2 queen size comforters. There's a little takeaway. The more sheets you have on, the more options, the better.
Less fighting of the blankets, right? I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Right. Not that you would have any experience with that.
I don't. It's
Mr.
funny.
Handy in there.
I have a queen size bed, and I keep thinking, why did I buy this damn thing? I use literally like a third of it. Seems like a waste of money at this point.
One's for your waifu pillow. Have we discussed that before? I believe
we have not, and there is no such thing as a.
Is it
whatever.
waifu? Is it waifu or waifu? Does anyone know the correct pronunciation?
I've seen the word. Idea. I don't know how to pronounce it though.
I've read it on E's pillowcase a number of times, but I can't remember.
I didn't even know what the hell it was when you were making fun of me.
You claimed not to.
No idea.
Methinks the man doth protesteth too much.
Speaking of Kickstarters, though, I did get a Kickstarter this week to have something exciting.
Good.
My 3D printer came in yesterday.
Wow, you've been waiting for that for quite a while.
No, that was the other one. The other one didn't fund.
You've been waiting for a 3D printer for quite a while.
Yeah. This particular Kickstarter, when did I back that? I think it was August. So
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Pretty
it was
recent.
just a month. It was a pretty quick turnaround. China was on the ball. I don't know. Maybe it was actually July.
So what are you?
It was like a month.
What's the first thing you're gonna print?
A bunch of test cubes, and then a benchy, and then I think I'll do.
What the hell is a benchy?
Oh, a benchy is it's a little tugboat, and everyone uses them as a benchmark for 3D printers. It's just become a industry standard like test print, so they call them benchies. Because
I've heard people refer to you as the little tugboat before.
Never.
Wow. Just tugging away over
Just
there.
tugging away.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
I didn't even get where he was going with that.
Yeah.
A little tugboaty.
I don't think he meant it for it to go that way either.
I did. I 100% meant it to go that way.
Tugboat.
I'm glad someone else picked up on
Give
it.
it a tug.
Anyone else have any interesting sauces experiences this week? I had one I wanted to talk about, but I've already taken a majority of the podcast, so I want to give someone else a chance here.
I tried the sriracha ketchup with onion rings since it's been in my fridge.
Huh. And?
Delicious. I liked it.
Anyone else?
I think the more I'm eating it, the more I'm becoming addicted to the sriracha. I don't know. I'm liking it.
I did try some more of that Chipotle Cholula on, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think a burrito, and it was quite good. I'm still a fan of it. I still want to try it on a good, like, more authentic style taco. I think it would really slap on that. Well, I guess we're not going to have a smooth segue into this week's topic, but this week we are talking about doing a little throwback to our first episode. We're going to be discussing a Sweet Baby Ray's sauce. This one is the Sweet Golden Mustard Barbecue Sauce. It's got a long name. This was something that was picked up by E for the group, his first contribution to the podcast, if I'm not mistaken, aside from doing it in his house.
Aside from providing the space and putting up with all your smart aleck remarks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't charge rent for the studio. So
that's true. Good. That's a good point. And yeah, he does cook us nuggets upon occasion, so that's a plus.
I'm even getting better at it. How's that sound, right?
That's true. You did do a fantastic job. Now, we did not have nuggets this week.
Yeah, way too busy. With having to go back to work and everything.
Do you think that was a mistake? Do you think it would have been better to have this on nuggets? I think it was fine as is, right? On the things we tried it on?
Yeah, I mean, I think nuggets, I think it would be very good on chicken nuggets, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Yes, true, indeed.
For the reference on this, we tried it on some of the waffle-style little hard pretzels from Snyder's.
Called snaps.
I don't know. They're the little waffly ones, little tic-tac-toe ones. People know what I'm talking about. And
most people don't.
And some sausage turkey bites, the old Wisconsin brand, which I am quite a fan of. Got a little crinkle there in the podcast for our listeners.
Extra crinkle.
I feel like feel like they're in here with us.
Right, yeah. You can almost taste the turkey bites.
Tori, why don't you describe what we're looking at here, this Sweet Baby Ray's for us?
Well, I mean, outside of the color, because Sweet Baby Ray's, the product in the bottle varies a great deal in color from depending, if it's red or brown or this particular, I don't know, I think I'd call this a dandelion. Sort of a very vivid, sort of brownishy yellow sauce that's in there. So, of course, that'll change some of the appearance as we gaze upon it. But the sticker's pretty much classic stuff, Sweet Baby Ray's, all caps, gourmet sauces underneath there, red, white. It's very clean labeling.
Yes.
I know I have complained a great deal about packaging that's quite busy with a lot of things going on. It's not particularly easy on the eyes. I think this is very easy on the eyes.
Unlike that wild style
which is still horrible.
A little bit much. Well, your wife's a fan of it, so we got one person that likes it.
She's weird. Yeah, they have the sort of a triangle here encapsulating the particular sauce that this is. This, of course, being Sweet Golden Mustard Barbecue Sauce. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, real mouthful.
But yeah, I mean, as far as packaging labeling is concerned, it's pretty much classic, typical Sweet Baby Ray's. Nothing to write home.
There was one little thing you didn't mention, which I thought was actually kind of cool when I was looking at the label, was the little mustard jars down on the bottom on either side.
Oh dang! I didn't even see that.
I didn't. Let me take a look. Oh yeah, very good. Actually, they look like those the Coleman mustard that we had tried
in the jar. Yeah,
the fancy one. Now the bottle for this one is I think Sweet Baby Ray's just makes the one bottle for all their sauces. It's kind of that, your typical
salad
fat
dressing
bottom, salad dressing bottle, fat bottom, skinny top kind of deal there. I want to say this was in their usual range, the $3 neighborhood of prices.
Yeah, $2.50 I think was.
Yeah, I think most of them are pretty much in that range, right?
Yeah, I think it was $2.59, so $2.60.
I learned a little bit of a thing this week about sauces. It's specifically in regards to the bottles. I went to get a bottle at a local small town grocery store in Ohio. I went to get a bottle of ketchup, and I noticed that they had some natural organic Heinz ketchup or something like that. It had cane sugar instead of the high fructose corn syrup. I was going to buy that, and I believe it was like $3.49 for a relatively small bottle. I instead found an entire shelf of Heinz ketchup, genuine Heinz ketchup, for $1.99, in fact, a bottle. And they were not the biggest size bottles, but they weren't the smallest either. I think they were just the standard size squeeze bottle, whatever that is, 20 ounces or something.
For $1. That seems like a steal of a deal.
99 cents. And I thought, I'm going to buy this. I don't know why it's so cheap, but sometimes you get strange things in the middle of rural Ohio there.
Was this a Mark's?
No, this was in fact, it was I don't know. They might get in some trouble for this, what I'm going to say, so I don't want to cast it out. It's not a chain that you would have heard of in any case. But no, when I got the sauce to its destination, my girlfriend first tried to open it to take the seal off. She couldn't get the lid off. Now, it's a pretty common, I don't know about your household, Tori, but it's a pretty common occurrence in my household.
Yeah.
She then passed it to my dad. Now, my dad is a stout man. He's a robust kind of guy.
Burly,
he's a burly, old iron worker. Is roughly like a small gorilla shaped, I would say. But he's getting old, and he's getting up there in years. He's 60, he just turned 66, as a matter of fact. That's what we were celebrating with the ketchup. That's all I got him was a bottle of ketchup, and I said, give me the cheapest fucking one you have for my dad. No, but no, that was a part of it. But he would appreciate the frugality, as a matter of fact.
I'm sure he would. 66, that's good.
But he couldn't get the top of the bottle off either. And I thought, that seems strange, but in my typical bravado, I said, listen here, Grandpa, pass that bottle on to me, your young buck son. I'm going to show you a thing or two. He passed the bottle over to me, and try as I damnedest could, I could not get the top of that bottle off. It was like it was welded. I actually thought for a second it was one piece. If you couldn't clearly see, there were two separate pieces, a clear piece and a white piece of plastic. And then I decided to squeeze the bottle of ketchup, and the sauce came out. There was no seal. So the lid was permanently attached, and there was no seal. My dad then came to the, I think, apt conclusion that this was, in fact, a restaurant supply bottle that was not made to be refilled, because that's part of their service contract with Heinz, is that the bottles are not to be refilled. They don't want inferior ketchup to the Heinz in there. So they epoxy the tops of the bottles on. However, because they're meant to go to restaurant supply, they don't bother with a freshness seal on them. Now, I bought this at a grocery store, mind you. I think what had happened was one of the local restaurants that was forced to close down due to the pandemic had to offload their ketchup supply. They sold it to this local market in a little kind of underhanded deal and passed it off to the consumers, even though it said on the back, as we later discovered, not for individual resale.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't sealed.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that, man. I'd be very leery of that.
That's why I said I didn't want to mention them by name. I don't want to get them in any kind of legal trouble, but...
I think they got themselves in legal trouble by pulling that shit.
Did you guys continue? You ate it? You ate the
absolutely.
sauce?
My dad wouldn't let a sauce go to waste. He said that he would appreciate the frugality if nothing else. And I've seen my dad eat food combinations that no human should be capable of.
You're full of interesting stories this week.
Yeah, I wrote down a couple this week because I thought I had, here's one that's at least relevant, one that's maybe I can tell with an interesting sound or something, I guess. I don't know. Some little fucking filler. We can edit that shit out. People hear too much of me as it is. They're both nodding their heads vigorously in agreement.
Not true.
So, I've done enough talking. Why don't we pass this off to someone? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this sauce here?
My thoughts on this Sweet Baby Ray's was 2 big thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of mustard. It's sweet. It's very sweet. It's got complex flavors, though. It has a little bit of smoke in it. It says it has cider vinegar in it, but I thought the vinegar was very subtle. I did not think it was overpowering in any way. I thought that this would be really good for... I know. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sneezing. Trying to hold it in as best I can.
We'll leave that
That's
in.
painful.
For the listeners, he made a puking sound. If you guys are familiar with a cat puking, I know we talked about that last week.
Noise.
No, it was like...
Yeah, I heard more of a puke. I was worried.
This is going to be some good ASMR for our listeners.
Jeez.
Oh, no.
I say we leave it in.
Anyways, so I also think this sauce would be really good on chicken or maybe a pork chop, like to grill with it, to barbecue with it. I think it's a little sweet and you might have trouble burning it. So be careful about how much you heat it up. But I think it'll be really good on some grilling. I think it was absolutely delicious. I really liked it.
What was your kind of like your primary note? Like, what was the first thing that hit your mouth when you tasted this?
I do taste the mustard.
Yeah.
I think it's got a very strong mustard upfront flavor, but it's very sweet after that. And then a little citrusy and a little smoky, and the complex flavors keep going, and it's there's a lot going on in that sauce, and it's all good notes. It's good stuff.
It did have some complexity to it, which I wouldn't say is always Sweet Baby Ray's strong point if I had to make a criticism. But I do think this one is nuanced. Tori, do you have any thoughts, like your kind of initial taste of it there?
Yeah, I'm with E. I got a lot of mustard. I got a lot of vinegar, certainly in the smelling of it. I certainly bit a lot of bite on the vinegar. Super sweet. I know E mentioned this before, and I won't say this often, but I thought it was almost cloyingly sweet. Almost sweet to the point where it got a little bit too much. I got a lot of sweet teeth. I like sweet stuff. I like sweet. I had Mallow cups with Pepsi earlier, like a couple hours earlier. So that's
disgustingly sweet.
I love chocolate and Pepsi. So I'm a bit, we're tangent here.
Now I'm going to make the sound bullet.
I'm making the point that I like sweet stuff, but I thought that was tremendously sweet. But
remember, think of a condiment. Sorry to cut you off. It is not meant to be eaten by the spoonful. It's meant to be.
Oh, right. I'm
on
saying,
something.
Oh, yeah. And I had it on the pretzels also.
But you have been demanding to have your sauces served you in a wine glass so you can swirl them around and smell them and make sure they weren't corked before you tasted them.
That's how you get maximum smell. You get that residue on the sides of the plastic cup.
I thought that was odd, but I think you might be onto something there with the smell, because you are picking up on some things initially that I'm not getting by just diving right in.
Yeah, the smell is crucial, man. I put a lot of stock into it. But what I was saying was, I think the sweetness lends itself, and certainly lends itself to have some mass appeal. I think everyone in this room pretty much liked it. I think you'd slap that in front of any hot-blooded American. I think they would like it just as much. Yeah, very well liked. I think they'll very well received probably by most folks. I think this would be terrific on fried food. As we were talking about chicken nuggets, chicken wings. I'm a little perturbed maybe, that they use barbecue sauce. They distinctly go out of their way to put barbecue sauce on the label. I think they would have been just fine without the barbecue sauce and going with just straight up sweet golden mustard, leaving it at that, or sweet golden mustard sauce. I think, geez, how long of a name do you need for starters? But to really hammer this barbecue point home, I would not put that on barbecue food. I would not put that. Wouldn't get anywhere close to my pulled pork. That wouldn't get anywhere close to my brisket. I think I don't want to say they missed the mark there. But sweet golden mustard fried food sauce, I think would have been on laser focused on target. But yeah, the barbecue sauce I feel was a little.
I think it would be really interesting if we had access to the sauce before they put the barbecue in it, because they put tomato puree, and there are certain ingredients in there that are really classic for barbecue. If they took those out, would you like it more? Would you like it less? What would it do to the flavor?
I don't know. I guess we'd have to really see and find out. It's an interesting thought experiment, no question. I wouldn't put it on barbecue.
I actually don't. I really disagree with this even being called a barbecue sauce. And the one thing I did want to say there to kind of jump in is that I think what they're going off of, there is such a thing as a Carolina Gold barbecue sauce. That is a style of barbecue sauce, kind of a little bit of compare and contrast to the typical Carolina style, that heavy vinegar taste. This is just a different thing that they do. But I really think that this is not a barbecue sauce at all in the conventional sense.
No. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I know we've had this discussion before. Barbecue sauce, it's basically vinegar, and then BYOS. Build your own sauce.
I thought you just build your own shit.
From there. And so, yeah, I mean, if it checks the vinegar box, the smoky box, the peppery box, yeah, okay. I guess by that virtue, it's a barbecue sauce. But
what would you think if the sauce was brown?
That's an interesting thought, because I closed my eyes and I wrote down ham barbecue. So I know a lot of folks may or may not be familiar with ham barbecue. It is sort of a local thing, but you take chipped ham and you usually let it simmer in Isley's ham sauce, which is, I thought, very similar to that, especially in the smell.
How sweet.
Exactly. A little bit of the vinegary. Ham barbecue recipe, the easiest one. Some onions. You let that simmer for a couple hours. You throw it on a bun. It's with some potato chips. It's freaking delicious. But
this is going to sound unusual to a lot of people because this is very specifically a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah.
I think bears mentioning to that because most people are probably looking at you. This is what I would call in Ohio chip chop ham.
Oh yeah, that's
barbecue sauce.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. That is essentially what, and usually in a slow cooker, maybe with some onions and served on buns. This is a Pittsburgh tradition that I was introduced to when I moved here.
Yeah.
I still find it a little weird. But I mean it's good, but it's weird.
It definitely throws me for I'll eat it, definitely, and
what won't I eat?
That's just crazy. It's something I grew up with. It would be something that would be weird. To me, it would be weird if I went somewhere where they didn't know what I was talking about. So excuse me.
You were confident about it, and I do think that probably if you guys feel free to chime in if there's another state or region that does this, but I think this might be isolated solely to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Isley's in and of itself.
Right. Well, that I know that specifically is definitely, and this might be that might be a southern thing, in general. Maybe they do it with some regular ham or something, but I definitely think I know that the Isley's at least is specific to Pittsburgh.
But on your note of ham barbecue, personally, pulled pork, I'd put this on pulled pork. I'd put this on a pork chop. Absolutely.
Wow. I don't know about the pulled pork. I did write down here that I would 100% see this as a ham glaze if you were doing a baked ham, which kind of ties into something, typically we get to our traditional painfully slow reading of every single ingredient item by item. And we did read the ingredients earlier, and the one thing that really caught my eye was the pineapple juice concentrate, which is, I think, a key ingredient in a lot of ham. If you want to kind of break that ham down, get it softer, get it, in the oven, you get that kind of the caramelization there, the sugars. I think, was that bromide or something that
there is some chemical
has in it that breaks down proteins.
That's why your mouth feels all weird after you eat it.
I'll have to look it up so I don't sound like an idiot. We can edit it back in later and make me sound like a genius.
Yeah, we're going to leave that in too.
Yeah, right.
Like all the rest of the editing we do. Were there any ingredients that stood out to you on there, E? I know you're usually the ingredient man.
I did. I called out my cider vinegar. I thought that stood out. And I called out the tomato paste, which also was,
I didn't get the vinegar strong at first. Actually, one thing that was really throwing me off was that the turkey bites have a bit of a smoked flavor to begin with, and I was really getting a lot of smokiness. I think now that that's actually from the sauce, and I read, and there's a smoke flavor added into there.
There's a smoke flavor. There is, interestingly enough, caramel color, garlic, and tamarind.
Now, I think those are also some of the ingredients like we had previously mentioned. I know definitely the smoke flavor, but also some of like the caramel color and things like that. Those are part of the blend of things that they paint onto the cheeseburgers at Hardee's before they're fried. Is that correct, Tori? Yeah. We discussed this before.
Yep.
The spray can, aerosol can that you paint the flavor on with. There's some more ASMR for other. It's a sensual episode. Any tastes there jump out at you, Tori? I know you got hit pretty hard from that vinegar earlier, which I could barely detect.
That was the sweetness doing it to me. It got hung up. It got hung up on my roof of my mouth there. It's good. I like it. It's good. I think the mass appeals. I'm within that mass, so there's some appeal to me. I think this would be the go-to chicken nugget sauce.
I could really see, and I think you made the comparison earlier, Eda. This is kind of similar to McDonald's sauce, if I'm not mistaken, right?
The McDonald's honey mustard. I thought they had a similar smell.
I think it's a lot more aggressive too. I think the McDonald's ones that are always trying to play it safe, very mild, subtle flavors. I think this one's got definitely more zest.
Extra sugar. I think you dive into a McDonald's honey mustard cup and it's sugar,
right?
Largely, yeah. This has a lot more flavor, zest, complexity, body to it. If we're gonna start putting numbers against it, I'm gonna say this is 8.5, maybe even a 9 for me. I think
we're not doing ratings yet. God damn it, we do ratings at the end. We're still talking about the fucking sauce, you piece of shit. Edit that out.
I thought we were winding down there, but all right.
No, I'm still talking. I got shit to say, you piece of shit.
Got a real long lead in.
Mr. Big Windbags over there, he's got.
Hey, I'm keeping us on track. We're actually not doing too bad time-wise. The one thing I did want to touch on is this is a little bit more of a... I looked it up. This is a lower viscosity than your typical barbecue sauce, meaning it's a little bit thinner. Yeah, I know that one always throws me off too, but we'll leave that on. You sound like an idiot. I know you like it. We edited it specifically to make me sound smart and make Eric sound dumb. So just know that in real life, that's not the case. He's actually pretty fucking dumb. No, this is definitely thinner than your traditional barbecue sauce, I would say.
I don't know. I thought it was. Oh, yeah, I guess it is a little thinner.
Yeah, it ran down the side of this plastic cup pretty good.
Right.
After I did my swirl smell method.
You mean your wine glass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My plastic Dixie cup wine glass.
Do you think this would go better in a white wine glass or a red wine glass?
Oh, hell. I don't know.
Do you even know the difference between the two?
No. I drink beer.
Do you even know the difference? He's a wine glass sauce eating snob over here. This pairs better with a yellow barbecue sauce than a white wine glass.
I had a eureka moment earlier, and I think that this sauce is incredibly comparable to Chick-fil-A's sauce.
Oh, well, no, which one, though?
The yellow one.
I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's just Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh, really? Wasn't that one more of an orangish color? Or am I thinking of something different?
It's a brighter yellow.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A sauce is
if you dial up...
sweeter, too.
Yeah. Dial up the
shebang.
Dial down the mustard on this and up the smokiness, and then you'll have the same thing.
Okay.
All right. I thought I was going to say maybe add a little mayo, almost like my hot dog
There's
sauce.
no mayo in this. What?
No.
Oh, in the Chipotle.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Whatever that fucking place is.
Chick-fil-A.
Wow.
I was getting like some honey notes out of this, but I think that they list high fructose corn syrup, obviously, but
Yeah,
I
you're
definitely,
getting the good stuff.
that sweetness to me was more. I think it's probably the rest of the flavors combined there. There might be some fake honey flavors added in, honey flavor number 43 or something,
I think you're probably just tasting the high fructose corn syrup and the cider fructose.
Fructose.
Fuck, I did not say that.
I did.
And the cider vinegar. I think those two flavors kind of are added, like maybe creating that like honey-esque, like toning down the sweetness.
And Tori, you had mentioned it, or one of you mentioned a tomato paste, right?
Yeah, tomato puree.
There's a lot of vinegar in this. There's like vinegars listed in here like 4 different times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole heck of vinegar.
But I didn't think it was that up front. I almost was questioning the vinegar when you were first like, wow, there's a lot of vinegar in here. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I guess there is some. And then I read the back. I was like, wow, there's white, there's cider, there's, yeah, like.
I'm glad we chose not to have a comparison sauce for this because I don't think we would have been able to come up with anything easily that. I mean, there are definitely other Carolina golden barbecue style sauces out there, but I would not have immediately known that that's what this was, I think.
So there's a Big Shop, Bob's, which is a local restaurant to us.
Wing
that
restaurant.
has wings, right, and they have a golden barbecue sauce, which I think is very similar to this.
We should get them. We should see if they're willing to do a sponsorship for the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Rake in some free wingdings.
Would all be big as a house. Would all be 700 pounds.
Well, you were talking earlier about mass appeal, and I wanted to make a statement on that we certainly have a lot of mass at this table for this sauce to appeal to.
Well done. That was a good one.
Yeah, it's a little delayed there, but it was a good one I wanted to throw in. I didn't even write that one down. I just remembered that in my old noggin. It pushed out a lot of other important stuff. But that's okay.
When you were asking me about my week, I also made it to the doctors this week, so you told me
You did?
I had too much mass. I need to lose some weight.
I was surprised. Last time I went to the doctor, that she didn't have any comments on my weight. Actually, she seemed like, which I am definitely overweight, but she seemed to think that she had no comments regarding that.
I guess I'm the shortest and roundest of us here.
Well, we're all thick men, as we have previously discussed.
Yep.
We're all men of size. So I know you jumped the gun a little bit there earlier. I think we've kind of come around now to the portion of the show where we typically get into the ratings without jumping right the fuck into them. I have to reach across and slap the fucking mic out of your face.
Would you like to go first? Would you like to give your numeral value against this?
It's tradition that I don't go first. It's tradition that one of you goes first. I can't remember which one you went first last week, so I guess it's going to be E this week.
I highly enjoy and recommend the sauce. I think it's a 9 in my book.
That went up from 5 minutes ago when you tried giving it an 8.
No, I said 8.5 or 9.
Oh, okay.
I'm solidly, it's a 9. I love it. I think it's great. I see a lot of uses for it. I even think you could cook and blend with it. You could add some hot sauces to this and spice it up.
You're going a little too far for my personal taste.
Yeah,
I think it's fine as it is.
That's a little off the goop for me.
I could definitely see throwing this on something prior to grilling it.
Now you can give it some like Asian flair with like a little bit of crushed hot red pepper in there.
Dude, you're going way off.
I think
Asian flair on a Carolina barbecue. I let you get away with a lot, but what the fuck is actually wrong with you?
It's a fusion.
Fusion. Get creative. The sauce is good.
The famous fucking Asian barbecue. What the fuck is actually wrong with you? Jesus Christ. This is why I make you go first, so I can get over the fucking Tory as fast as possible.
Oh, thank you. Wow, that means a lot.
Tori, please tell me you don't want to infuse this shit with some kind of Asian cuisine.
No, I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to this mass appeal idea. I think it has this mass appeal in spades. I know everyone at this table liked it again. I think you put it in front of any hot-blooded American, they'll love it just the same. To that end, to me, it sort of has this sort of mass production, I don't know,
right.
Dare I say, like this sort of faceless
right.
Type of number in the crowd type deal. I don't know. Was it good? Yes. Did it stand out? Sure. Did it have... I don't know. I keep going back to Paul Newman, and even though we flamed him that last time,
right.
I mean, that's a good gimmick, I mean,
right.
he gives to charity. He got his handsome face on the front of it. Again, I know it sounds like I'm really slamming it because it's not. It's good. I would absolutely have it again on chicken nuggets or
right.
maybe even a ham sandwich. I think might be
All
good.
Right.
Maybe
yeah,
a turkey
absolutely.
sandwich. So I'm not coming here to slam it. I like it. The whole mass production feel sort of is a turn off to me. So I maybe a 7.5, 8 by that token. I certainly don't think it's awful. I would eat it again. I mean, whatever, the whole tradition with the offshoot of the Carolina sauce or whatever. I don't know. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think for you to come in with this idea that it is some type of barbecue sauce, I think you'll be mistaken.
Well, I think that is exactly what it's supposed to be. I'm not trying to stretch that at all, just for clarity. I think that is literally what they're attempting to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the point I was making is it wouldn't get anywhere close to my barbecue. My pulled pork, my brisket, things like that.
One thing I will say is I think if you're someone who doesn't really care for barbecue sauces in general, you might really like this as an alternative. I know my sister is that way. That's kind of how I was introduced to this. She's not a big fan of traditional barbecue sauces. She really likes this, though.
It's the barbecue sauce that's not. Give it a try.
Right. But a lot of that same appeal, too. I'm glad you brought up the packaging. That is something that I think is a really a cogent point to make. The Sweet Baby Rays, when they first started off with, they were kind of like the underdog, I think. Maybe that was just my perception of it at the time.
I shared that perception.
Right. Now, the one thing I will say is that they've almost kind of come too far on the polish side. I think they're going with the plain packaging. Like you had said, they're not trying to be flashy about it by any means. But the way that they're doing it, I think, comes across almost inauthentic at this point.
Yes.
I think they would be better perceived if their labeling, for example, is kind of like that super thin, cheap, almost plastic-esque labeling that's shiny, kind of got that gloss to it. And I really think that would pop on the shelf if they went to more of like a thicker paper matte labeling, and I think that would definitely give it that down-home vibe that I think they're trying to go for.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned an important word there, plasticky.
Yes.
Not to say that the sauce is plasticky, but the whole production value feels plasticky. And I think you nailed it with that.
I think that was. I'm really glad you brought that up because I really hadn't considered that. But there is certain sauces that kind of have a little bit of appeal because, especially with barbecue sauces, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot of soul. That's a lot of
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's that Southern style, down home, original, and I think you see a lot of barbecue sauces that if they're especially ones with a higher cost point, that's how they're selling it. That $6 bottle stuff is because it's in a glass bottle. It's got a thick matte paper label on it. It's got like similar simple labeling maybe to that, but it looks more authentic. It looks something that makes you feel good in your heart, not like you're selling into capitalism.
Right. And I just a quick glance at the back of this bottle. Did you see this little narrative on the back? That's a hell of a story to tell. I'm glad, of course, it's on the bottle, but I mean, let's play that up a little bit.
Why don't you give us a read, or if you like, I can read it.
I mean, we'll give it a brief synopsis. There was a chef, Larry Raymond. He perfected the family sauce. This was in 1985. It was so fine. He made nearly 700 entries. He won
in a contest.
Out of 700 entries. Excuse me. Yeah, Sweet Baby Rays. It was the name he got while on Chicago's West Side on the basketball court of all things. So my man could ball.
Right.
Don't let my man post Sweet Baby Ray up in the paint. He'll hit you with an elbow or two.
Did it say what year on there that originated?
85 was when he perfected the family recipe. So he was still messing around in his mom's kitchen. So that was
probably still small batch at that point. So probably our perception then, in I want to say early 2000s is coming around. That probably was reality. That was probably when it was starting to be mass produced, if I had to guess.
Or 90s, mid 90s, I think.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that was. Well, that we've discussed this before too. That things start out west in California. And by the time they get it all the way over to rural Ohio, they're serving stuff, restaurant buyout bottles. So
not always though. I mean, if this was, making headlines in Chicago, there's certain things that even start on New York and head the other direction. Not a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That is true
sometimes.
too. But I feel like those trendier places are fast to adopt it, and then mass adoption comes from the west to the east, like the weather we previously discussed, which we have not discussed yet this episode, which is usually a mandatory, and Tori gets furious at it. So
Me.
Raging roar and starts smashing equipment like the Hulk around the studio.
Wow.
Tori don't like weather.
Oh, you are talking about me.
Yes, we
I'm
are.
talking about you.
I'm just so you'd rather see more premium labeling and then a premium price on this too? Like
no.
you don't want to pay $250
I'm not saying
bottle?
I'm not saying that they need to go premium pricing. I know I'm not an expert packaging marketer or whatever, but what I'm saying is I don't think that it would be dramatically more expensive for them to go like a matte paper label. I think that's probably more of a worldwide distribution thing that they're using this labeling because it's less likely to get damaged, and look good on a Walmart shelf, which kind of feeds into that soulless nature. So I'm saying, yeah, you know what? Maybe instead of $2.50, maybe make it $3 a bottle, polish it up a little bit, get back to your roots a little bit, and I think that would have appeal to people because I know for me personally, this used to be, I was trying to get away from like the open pits or the craft, which I viewed as kind of the sellout at the time, into the Sweet Baby Ray's, 10, 20 years ago, whereas now I look as kind of the Sweet Baby Ray's as kind of like grandma's barbecue sauce that she buys, similar to like the craft used to be, and I want to get into something newer and trendier, maybe, maybe
That's
get
fair.
back to the roots because it is a worthy product, but
Absolutely.
it's not the first one I go for anymore.
What's the salad dressing outfit that shares these same bottles? Ken's.
Yeah, Ken's, and there's another one too.
Hidden Valley, maybe not. Really.
No. But yeah, that is extremely similar. They may even be owned by the same company.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, I've been really burying the lead here. I do need to actually get around to a rating, and I was kind of delaying a little bit because I really didn't know exactly what I wanted to give this. To me, it is a high quality sauce, and I really enjoyed the taste. There are some critiques I could make about it. I think this, to me, would probably have a more narrow range of things I would want to try it on. And I do think it's one of those sauces. I know we try to always try sauces room temperature, however they come from the store, fresh, unopened packaging. This one, from my personal experience, and this is not something that we usually talk about, but this one is one that I think is definitely better served warm, room temperature at least. I do not think it is nearly as good cold. And I think that's the case with a lot of barbecue sauces. I think I'm going to come in at this with an 8. I think that's a fair rating. It's well above, our standard of 5. It's definitely not a 10. It could be a 9, maybe if I was really feeling it that day, but I think an 8 is fair for tonight. And like I said, in my previous times I've had it, I didn't particularly care for it, to be honest with you. This was the best time. This is the time I've enjoyed it most.
Yeah, above average, not standout.
Interestingly, I think this is the highest rated sauce we've had then.
By the whole group.
By the whole group.
Yeah, I know, because our Chipotle was, I think, pretty high, but that got dragged down by the anchor Tori over here.
Well, it sucked.
Wow, it sucked.
I mean, it's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry to me.
I'm going to cut you and dry you, a piece of shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to pretty much do it for our wrap up on this sauce here. I mean, we got pretty into detail on that for being just the one sauce. Usually we have a couple to kind of bounce back and forth to. And I know you got a number of these sauces on sale the other day, so we may be having some more Sweet Baby Ray's in the future.
That was the first time E went to the grocery store this quarter.
Ah, yes. It's the first time he's paid money to go to a grocery store. Normally he gets it from his coworkers or the trash can.
Coworkers or the trash can. That's right. That's right.
Digging around out back. With the COVID, that's become much harder. They've started locking the dumpsters to keep him out.
It's funny that you mentioned the guys the price point. I think I got 3 bottles of sauce for like $5. I mean, it was a pretty good price.
If you stuff them down your pants, you can get a lot more than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Switch to the self-checkout. No, we don't condone that.
Actually, they're getting tricky about that. I noticed the other day that the way they're doing it, a lot of the stores have cameras now. In addition to like the weight sensors, they also have cameras. And I noticed if you have the motion of like putting something into your cart without actually, or putting it into the bag, especially without having swiped it across the scanner, that alerts them and they have to come and clear. Not that they care. They'll let you get away with murder at the self-checkouts. They just swipe you through. We're not advocating for that, by the way.
No stealing. Not good.
Not even if you're sleazy fucking E. Well, I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this review here on Sweet Baby Ray's Sweet Golden Mustard Barbecue Sauce.
God bless you.
The sauce is the boss.
It's quite the name.
That's going to do it for this week. E, you got any closing thoughts for us?
Everyone take care, and hope you listen to us again in the future.
Tori, you got any closing thoughts for us? I know that E kind of stole your thunder. You're usually the wholesome one, and he's usually the one that goes, I don't know.
I mean, if you want to elaborate, be my guest, E.
Do you have any specific victims of any natural disasters you'd like to call out this week? I thought about that last week. I really cut you off on that. That was kind of cruel of me. That was a serious event, and I shouldn't have.
It was one hell of a storm.
Yeah, 2 of them came through, right?
Yeah,
there's 2.
2 of them.
And
Category 4. It was one of the most. I mean, it's like what, 20 billion in destruction. I think there's now like 20 people who died during that storm. I mean,
I really
it's
played
bad.
that down, and I really shouldn't have. That was kind of not very nice of me.
I appreciate this roundabout way of apologizing.
I'm not going to apologize to you. I'm apologizing to the people I may have offended by belittling their circumstances. But I know even up here in Pennsylvania, there were people who were off the road from rain. Actually, we talked about this last time on our drive-in.
Yes.
People somehow live in Pennsylvania, a state that gets 3,000 inches of rain a year. They don't know how to drive in the rain. They'll pull off to the side of the road or just drive off the road unintentionally in rain, in moderate rain. Again, I'm belittling people who are less fortunate than I am. So, but why don't you hit us with your closing thoughts?
Let's have some upbeat, something positive instead of listening to that.
Okay. Oof. Well, I aim to please, and I hopefully will please tonight, because of course we talked about sweet things. We talked about sweet baby rays. We talked about a sweet sauce. So
sweet vacation.
So a sweet vacation, a very, very sweet vacation. So yes, a lot of sweet things. So let's keep it with that and be sweet to yourself. Take care of yourself, because a lot of people like you. Maybe even a lot of people love you. I'm looking at you, AP. Maybe sometimes.
I thought we were both looking at E, but that's okay.
No. Maybe sometimes.
I saw you glance in his direction.
Some people love you, but I'm making light of the situation. But in all seriousness, be sweet to yourself, please. Forgive yourself. It's okay. And thank you for listening, of course.
Thanks, guys. All right, that's going to wrap it up this week. Thanks for listening. We'll hope to catch you next week.
Wow, hey, what a show. Don't forget to drop us a line. Our email is saucespoken@gmail.com. Why don't you stop on by on Twitter? We're at Sauce Spoken. We'd love to hear from you. Send us a recommendation or a request. We'd be happy to hear from you. And finally, on Instagram, we take goofy pictures every once in a while. We like to throw them on there. That's going to be Sauce Spoken Official. Please share us with your family and friends. Give us a review, a subscription. It would be an honor. Or just a little note down there at the bottom. Just let us know how we're doing. That would be terrific. But we are Sauce Spoken. Once again, really glad to have you here tonight. Thanks for listening.